Hello there, everyone. Welcome back to 3 News Now. I'm Stephanie Haney, and we are back live on Instagram for the first time in quite some time. So welcome. Welcome back to 3 News Now. If you haven't been catching it on Instagram, that's because we haven't been putting it here, but we are back now. And of course, as always, this will also be on Facebook and the YouTube page. So thanks for being here. Today is Monday, November 15th. Thank you for being here for the top stories from WKYC.com and our WKYC app. We start off today with big news coming out of Washington, D.C. President Joe Biden will be signing his $1 trillion infrastructure bill. That's happening today. Here's what the president said about it. He said, "It's hard, but we can still come together to get something big done for the American people." When talking about the infrastructure bill, he said this: "It will create millions of new jobs. It will grow the economy and will win the world economic competition that we're engaged in the second quarter of the 21st century with China and many other countries around the world." Now, the president held off on signing the infrastructure bill after it passed on November 15th until legislators would be back from a congressional recess. And today that will be a bipartisan event when that signing happens, with governors and mayors from both parties and labor and business leaders. Now, let's turn to the disappointing news from over the weekend. No, today is not a victory Monday. The Cleveland Browns lost to the New England Patriots on the road 45-7, and our Jay Crawford wrote some commentary up on this, and he said it was like the Cleveland Browns had gone back in time, but actually even worse than if the Cleveland Browns had gone back in time. He said it was almost like the clock got turned back 5 years, to be exact. If you take a look at what happened in 2016 when the Cleveland Browns took on the New England Patriots, that year the Patriots went 14-2 and they won the Super Bowl. That year, the Browns went 1-15 on the season, and that year when the Browns played the Patriots underneath then head coach Hugh Jackson, they lost, but it was 33-13. It was not 45-7. Again, yesterday's game, just a disappointment all around. So Jay's commentary on the matter is, we did not have Nick Chubb, we didn't have Kareem Hunt in, so Belichick put together a plan to stop the Cleveland Browns from getting Baker Mayfield to throw that ball. And that first touchdown, that first 7 points in there, that was a bit of a surprise to Belichick because Dearness Johnson came out and ran the ball. But once he made those adjustments to limit his impact, then it was basically all over for the Cleveland Browns. The Cleveland Browns couldn't convert a third down, and they couldn't stop the New England Patriots from converting almost all of those third downs. Now, here's the good news. The AFC North, not a lot of wins this week. The Steelers actually tied with the Lions. The Ravens lost. The Bengals lost. But still, that does put the Browns at 5-5 and looking towards the playoffs. If you ask Jay Crawford, he said that conversation seems a bit ridiculous right now. He thinks the Browns will have to go 6-1 on the season for here on out in order to make it into the playoffs. And what we've seen from the Browns it's been inconsistent. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what kind of team shows up for the rest of the season. But after what happened on Sunday, not looking good. And that's coming from lifelong Browns fan here. You hate to say it. Now, Myles Garrett had some comments after the game, and here's what he said. He said that we've got to get back to the drawing board and see how we can get better, see how we can scheme better, see how we can make adjustments on the fly. He said we never had a chance just because we didn't make any adjustments on the sideline or when we had time to. Now, head coach Kevin Stefanski today said that he spoke to Garrett afterwards. He said he would not reveal the details of his conversation, but he did say this. He says anytime you have a game like that, there's a lot of frustration, but that he was going to keep the details of his conversation with Myles Garrett private. Now, he was asked if there was any validity to what Myles Garrett had to say, and he said, look, you give up 45, you give up 7. We didn't have a good enough plan. We didn't do enough adjustments. We didn't play well enough. It is all of the above. So head coach Kevin Stefanski, of course, not happy with that performance from the Cleveland Browns. And now the Browns are at 5-5 on the season as they look to take on the Detroit Lions next Sunday at home. We have some news out of the Major League Baseball world here in Cleveland. Cleveland Guardians owner Paul Dolan is seeking a new investor, which could eventually lead to an ownership change. Now, this is according to The Athletic's Zach Meisel and Daniel Kaplan. He is apparently actively seeking a new investor. Now, news of this comes 2 years after the franchise's minority investor, John Sherman, left Cleveland to take a controlling interest in the Kansas City Royals. Now, according to The Athletic, Dolan has retained an investment company to maybe look at selling a 30 to 40% stake in the team. Now, Sherman, who left the team 2 years ago, again, to go to the Kansas City Royals, he reportedly claimed about 30% ownership But part of his deal was agreeing to a path where he would eventually get to a controlling ownership in the Cleveland baseball team before he left in 2019 again to get that stake in the Royals. Now, right now, Dolan is only seeking a minority investor for the team, according to these reports, but it is potentially expected that any deal could be very similar and lead to a controlling stake in the team. But according to The Athletic, that probably wouldn't occur for about 5 years. So lots of change coming for our Cleveland baseball team, not just the name, apparently. Seems like potentially a change in leadership. Now, here's a disturbing story in the medical world that you may have heard about. Yeah, there is actually a potentially deadly parasite that enters people through bare feet, and it is in the U.S. This is based on a story that The Guardian recently published with this headline. A deadly parasite that burrows into the body through bare feet could be multiplying in this U.S. community. Sounds pretty terrifying, right? Yeah, well, our Verify team got some questions about it, so they looked into it because the story was aggregated by several U.S. publishers, including iHeartRadio, and there was lots of conversation about it. So our Verify team talked to experts, and they said, yes, it is true. This parasite is here in the U.S. It's called strongyloids. That's the name of the parasite. And the thing about it, though, is that most people who might become infected with it don't experience any symptoms at all, but could be deadly for some people. This is primarily people with suppressed immune system. So basically, this gets through the feet of people who walk on soil that's contaminated with sewage matter or bodily waste, that kind of things. And then it moves through different parts of the body. It eventually gets into the bloodstream, up into the lungs. It can climb up your trachea, and then you can swallow it, and that's how it might get into your intestines. Now, here's the tricky thing, though. Once there, the experts say it might actually multiply and reinfect someone. Now, some of it will pass out of the body as waste, which is how it can get into other people through their feet, and then the process starts over. The symptoms, if you do experience symptoms for this, include abdominal pain, coughing, diarrhea, and a rash. So if you have any of those symptoms, if you're in a place where you think you might be experiencing some of that contamination, that's when you want to potentially talk to a doctor. But again, for most people, not particularly an issue, but if you do have a suppressed immune system, it can be fatal. So those are the facts from our Verify team. Now, we don't yet have the latest COVID-19 numbers in from the Ohio Department of Health, but when those do come in, you can get those on WKYC.com. But here is something that you do need to know. The deadline is approaching for Ohio's Vax to School drawings. These are the scholarship competitions for people ages 5 to 25 who've gotten at least one dose of the COVID-19 vaccine. There's $10,000 scholarships online, $10,000 scholarships. There's 150 of those. And there are 5 $100,000 scholarships on the line. And the first deadline is a week away. So if you sign up for the drawing by Sunday, November 21st, you're eligible for all drawings. If you sign up by Sunday, November 28th, you are eligible for a second drawing. And if you sign up by Wednesday, December 1st, then you will make it in time for the grand prize drawing. The grand prize drawing, of course, are those 5 $100,000 scholarships. You need to be between the ages of 5 and 25 and have received at least one dose of the COVID-19 vaccine. The place to enter is ohiovax2school.com. That's VAX and the number 2. Or you can call 833-4-ASK-ODH. That's 833-4-ASK-ODH if you want to enter that way. And then the winners can use that money at any Ohio college, university, technical trade school, or career program. Now, if you're looking for some entertainment to line up in your springtime entertainment plans, Journey is bringing its Freedom Tour to Cleveland next spring, and Toto will be joining them at the Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse. They'll be there on May 7th. Yes, the Hall of Fame inductees Journey will be there with Grammy Award-winning group Toto. You can get tickets starting this Friday, November 19th. And they'll be playing all kinds of classics. Don't Stop Believin', Any Way You Want It, Faithfully, Lights, all kinds of those. So again, that show coming to Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse May 7th. We have the link to get the tickets, rocketmortgagefieldhouse.com on WKYC.com. And if you caught the Ohio State game this weekend, you saw an impressive display from the Ohio State Marching Band. They featured music from Top Gun this weekend. Now, this is the 35th, and it would have been this week's halftime show is the 35th anniversary of the original film, Top Gun, and it would have coincided with the release of the sequel, Top Gun 2, before it got pushed back to May 2022. So Top Gun 2, again, coming out in May of 2022. But the performance from the Ohio State Marching Band, absolutely incredible this weekend. They played the Top Gun anthem. They played Lead Me On, Take My Breath Away, Danger Zone, all those classics. We've got that linked on WKYC.com, so you can check that out. And before we let you go here, we can't not talk about the snow yesterday, the first snowfall of the season. I, for one, think that it was absolutely beautiful. Wish the snow would have stuck around for us, but it did come down most of the afternoon. So if you missed that and you want to see people's photos from the first snow of the season, we have those up on WKYC.com. We'd also love for you to continue to send us yours. You can text them to 216-344-3300, or you can send them through the WKYC app using that Near Me feature in the bottom right corner. It is super easy to do. Just download the app, tap that Near Me, and the app will completely walk you through what to do from there. All right, that's it for your 3 News Now update today on Monday, November 15th. If you are back with us on Instagram Live, thank you for being here. So we'll be back each afternoon, Monday through Friday, with your updates here moving forward. And, of course, always on Facebook and YouTube and on all of your podcast platforms. If you are a podcast lover, make sure you search for 3 News Now with Stephanie Haney on your favorite podcast platform. 3 News is one word. Everyone, have a great Monday, have a great rest of your week, and I'll see you back here tomorrow with more 3 News Now.